Hey, Cyclo Girl. Yes, Cyclo Girl, not Psycho Girl. But I do want to make these videos, and I'm going to call them Cyclo Diaries because I'm going to get to that in a minute. But I am going to be making these videos a lot because I feel like there's a lot of people out there who are going through what I've been through, what I'm going through, and I feel like I just want people to know that you're not alone and you're not by yourself, and there's somebody out there who understands. And if me talking about my issues help you solve yours or help you cope and deal with yours, then I will definitely keep posting these videos. But anyways, yes, I said I'm Cyclo Girl. Yeah, I used to use Shimes. Sometimes I still use Shimes too, but that's just a name that I had for so long since I was like 14. It's not really a meaning to the name. It's literally just the name that I made. So I would like to just go by Cyclo Girl because, you know, the condition that I was diagnosed with, or one of the conditions that I was diagnosed with, really, really hit home. And also, I just feel like instead of feeling like a freak or feeling like I'm not normal, I kind of feel like a superhero, kind of feel like I have superpowers and things of that sort. So, um, on December 12th, before December 12th, I got into some really, 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 really terrible things. And I will explain that later. But long story short, I finally decided to go and see what is going on with me. I mean, I knew since I was like 5 or 6 years old that for some reason I just didn't want to be here. I mean, not even just for some reason. The things that I was going through at home and everything, it was just too much. And I always just felt too stressed at a young age. And as I got older and went through my own issues and problems, I guess I just got immune to stress. So stress was just, it was just normal to me. Even though it was bad for me, it was normal to me. And so, you know what comes with that, depression and all those other things. So long story short, I decided to see a psychologist. And I really wanted to take it seriously this time because I know that I've seen one maybe when I was a kid, and I don't remember anything about that. I just heard that I did, but then I remember seeing one when I was 12, and I didn't take that seriously at all because I was just trying to get out of there. I guess because of my behavior, my parents sent me there or whatever, and I just wanted to get out of there. I said whatever I had to say to get out of there. I was, acting, cool every day. Most people were in there for ODing. I didn't even know what ODing was at that time, which now I know it means, overdose. But I didn't know what that was. And everybody was like, why are you in here? And I was like, just behavior. So, that was one time that I went there and I probably seen one. But like I said, I don't really remember. And so now I'm 24 years old. I'll be 25 in July. And I decided after a long episode of the things that I was doing and just going through, that because of this tragic incident that happened, which I will get into, I had to see, I had to figure out what was going on with me. Like, I just had to. So long story short, I go in there, we talk. Of course, it's very, very emotional. Because it just brings you back, and then they start doing other tests on me, my attention span and things of that sort. And then a week later, I go back to get my results. Okay. I go and get my results, I'm really like scared about it. I'm really excited about it, but I just want to know who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like all these years I've been acting the way that I've been acting and trying to cope with it like a normal person would be able to, talk to themselves, get out of it, have somebody to talk to. But things were just never that easy for me. And I found myself, instead of actually like solving the problems, I was kind of just putting them under the mattress or throwing them under the bed until eventually there was no more space. And eventually things went out of, things got a little messy. But anyway, I went and he set me down, and he was basically just, reading off, the scores and things and what he thought and blah, blah, blah. And then we went into basically my childhood. A lot of things that a lot of things that went on in my childhood has made me who I am today. And that's why I really think it's very important, if you have children, that you really don't do the things that cause you to be the way that you are, if it's in a negative way. You know what I'm saying? Like, parents arguing, my mom was talking shit about my dad to me, my dad was talking shit about my mom to me. I mean, I'm young, I'm 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9, and you guys are just, putting that all in my head. I couldn't even focus in school. And I always wonder, like, why the fuck, like, I understand what the teacher's saying, I understand everything, but there's other things going on the other side of my brain that I cannot control. Things at home, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, we start getting to all those things, and he finally says, so you have PTSD. Now, I knew that I had that, and hopefully in another video I can explain, but maybe I should explain it right now. So we'll just go in order. So they said I had PTSD, and like I said, I already knew. When I was 16 years old, I got pregnant with my first daughter. I mean, I always wanted a daughter because me and my mother's relationship was just terrible. Like, I never felt like close to my mom, and I never felt like she loved me. So I always wanted to have a daughter of my own to prove to her that, you don't have to treat your daughter this way, and just someone to love me and I can love them and be the best mom I could be that my mom wasn't. So I ended up pregnant, and everything was going okay until eventually there was like 2.2 centimeters of amniotic fluid in there, and it was like really, really fuzzy in the ultrasound, and the doctors were just like, what is going on? They tried everything. They're like, you got to drink more, you got to this, you got to that. They stuck IVs in me. I was seeing a high-risk doctor. I mean, they was doing all that they could. Eventually, skip ahead to 6 months in of my pregnancy, we found out basically the baby that I was having, which was a girl, she was born with, her kidneys never developed, so she had no kidneys at all. When we had the ultrasound done, you could literally see like right through her. Like, she had nothing there. And the reason why it was so fuzzy, because there was no amniotic fluid. There was no fluid in there. It was like really hard to see what was going on. So that right there was just like a really big traumatic event that I had to deal with being on my own. Yes, I was 16, but I've been like away from my home on and off since I was like 15. So I think that was like the biggest thing I had to deal with outside of already my family stuff. And so the next month I ended up having her a day after my birthday. I actually was going into labor on my birthday, and I didn't know what was going on with me that day. Like, I literally, me and my kid's father just finished doing what we did, and my stomach was hurting so bad, but I thought, maybe it's just because, there's a baby in there, blah, blah, blah. But it was hurting and hurting and hurting and hurting and hurting for hours and hours and hours. Once I finally, mind you, there was no amniotic fluid. So my water already broke, but I didn't know because there was no fluid. So once I called the ambulance, I was already 7 centimeters dilated. So I knew I was crying so much because I just did not want to say goodbye. Like, hold up. I just couldn't believe that I carried a child for so long. It was growing inside of me, and it was living through me, and now I had to say goodbye after just finding out everything. So it was just like, wow. Like, it was just so terrible. Like, it was just a terrible feeling that I couldn't even say no, not yet, you know what I'm saying? Like, the baby was already like coming out when they checked, you know what I'm saying? she was already coming out and I was already 7 centimeters, there was nothing I could do, you know what I'm saying? So I was just crying so much because I knew it was like time to say goodbye. And so I get to the hospital, like I said, I'm crying and stuff. You know, they check me and stuff. They see that I'm 7 centimeters and the head is already like trying to come out. So the baby was breached. So what they really wanted to do was, they wanted me to get a C-section. But because I was so young, it was a day after my birthday, and it was such a traumatic thing that the doctor didn't want to like leave me with a scar that I would have to look at for the rest of my life, and who knows what it would have done to me. So what she did was I ended up giving birth to her breech. When she came out, you didn't hear crying, but you did hear her trying to breathe, you know, just yelping, like she wanted to live. And I had a choice to, you know, they asked me, did you want to put her in a NICU? Do you want to put her in the tubes? And it was a hard decision because that's a lot of like stuff that she would have to go through just for her to end up not being able to live, because she had no kidneys. So she was only alive for like an hour, and I think like a couple minutes. And even after she was gone, I still held her for a long time. Like, I couldn't believe that I couldn't take her home. Like, it was just so weird. Like I can't take home my child. She's just gone. Like, I never experienced anything like that. I didn't know how to experience, to deal with it. I was forced to deal with it. It wasn't like I could say, can we please just wait till tomorrow or something, you know. It was just had to deal with it. And so, you know, after I held her for so long, I don't know, maybe it was like 5 hours. She was getting cold, of course. And I just didn't want to let her go, but, you know, it was time for me to leave. And I had to leave her there. After that, you know, I did stay in my room. I went to my dad's house. I did stay in my old room, well, my brother's room, because he wasn't there. I stayed there for a while. Just stayed in my room. Didn't want to leave. My dad, you know, came in and checked on me. And he was like, you know, is everything okay? He's like, you know, you don't think she's still here, do you? Because, you know, I don't want to hear you, like, acting like as if she's here, then we really have a problem. I said, nah, I know that, you know, she's gone. And, like, I guess the way that I dealt with it was just how I dealt with everything as a kid, you know. You just go through something, like, tragic, and you just try to deal with it on your own. I didn't want to see a therapist. I didn't want to go crazy. And I think that not seeing somebody was the worst thing that I could do, because I ended up having my own children, more children. And it was like, I mean, after I gave birth to my daughter, first of all, that whole pregnancy was terrible. The things that I was dealing with was my kid's father. But that whole pregnancy was terrible. But after I gave birth to her, I got pregnant, you know, quickly after I lost Kenya. That was her name. I had Kendra before I turned 18. So I was 17. So I had Kenya the day after I turned 17. So the day after my birthday, July 18th. And then I had Kendra like a month and like a less than a month after my, my birthday. And so when I had her, I was just so happy, but I started freaking out. Like, I started not wanting her to be alone with certain people. I started, as she got older, I would make sure there's no pennies on the ground. I make sure there's nothing on the ground. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I was having bad nightmares of things happening to her. I mean, it was just crazy. I could barely sleep. I always thought something was going to happen to her. So then I have, other kids of my own, because now I have two other boys. And I mean, I'm telling you, it's just been worse and worse and worse and worse. I mean, like, when my mom takes them to the park, and if I'm getting ready to pick them up from her house and she's not there and she left her phone in her house, I freak out. I just freak out. Like, where are they? You're supposed to have your phone on you at all times. Like, anything could happen. You don't have your phone on you. I mean, what if somebody, you're a small petite woman, you're with 3 kids. What if something happens? Like, what if somebody just decides to come over there and snatch one of those children? What can you do? Like, who are you going to hold on to? You don't have no phone, nothing. So I would freak out about that. I remember one time my mom took my daughter to this pond I told her to not take her to. And she took her anyway. And when I tell you I went to go pick her up, I was so mad, because I literally got out of my car, parked my car, walked everywhere looking for them. And I walked that way and I said, where did you take her? I said, why did you take her there? She could fall in a pond, drown, anything. Like, I'm telling you, like, now that I've had like more kids and my own kids, I always think that I always try to avoid something bad happening, and I'm always thinking about the negative so that I could try to avoid it. So my mind is going crazy 24/7. When they're not in my sight, it's terrible. Like, I have to pray a lot before I go to bed. I have to see them at least on FaceTime before I go to bed, or hear their voice. It's just crazy. And there was an incident that I recently had where I the kids were at their grandma's. I just seen them on FaceTime, and I just had a long prayer. Just, God, please protect them from any negative energy, any negative people. Please protect them from so on and so on, until I felt at ease. I went to sleep. When I tell you I had the worst dream, it was the worst dream. It was like a dream about somebody trying to take my children. Then I end up getting lost somewhere trying to get to my children. I asked to use the phone, and they tried to kill me. It was just like terrible. And I've always had like bad dreams like that. It's really hard for me to fall asleep. And so, this just goes to tell you that I already knew that I had PTSD, but I really needed to talk to somebody to really, really like let me know that. So I think that that's where that began. So that is how I think that I started having PTSD. And also just being in a relationship where you're always walking on eggshells, like everything you do is wrong. You look up, just so happen to look up, and there might be a guy walking past, and you're just looking, you're not gazing in their eyes, but the person tells you, oh, you're looking at you looking at that guy over there, you staring that guy down, blah blah blah. I got to the point where I started looking on the floor. Like, when I would walk, it was such a habit for me for years to just look down when I was walking with my ex, because I just didn't want to be told, oh, you're looking at this person, looking at that person. Like, just dealing with all that stuff has caused me to be the way that I am with, the PTSD. So, that's that. Then I got diagnosed with major depression, or major depressive disorder, which, I really felt like I did not have that, but I can understand of why. And I guess I'll get into that another time. But then they also said that I had ADHD. Now, my parents said that when I was a child that I was diagnosed with that. They never did anything after. I mean, they said that they tried to put me on Ritalin, but I do remember in elementary school being very, very, very sleepy, like just sleepy. And I don't think that they like that. So they never did anything after that. They never, instead of, thinking that there's really something like wrong with me and I'm crazy or there's something going on, They just stopped. I didn't see a therapist. I didn't see anybody. That was it. So I've been going all these years not knowing that I have what I have, and now I understand why. Like every time, like, you know, I'll be in school and stuff, and the teacher will be talking. Of course, I will understand her and stuff, but there will always be something else going on inside where it takes longer for it to register, etc., etc. So then I also got diagnosed with something called cyclothymic. And basically what that is that it's like a rare thing, but basically my moods go up and down. Like sometimes I can be here, sometimes I can be here. It's like a mild case of bipolar. But yeah, that's what that is. And when they said that, I did get very emotional because my mother has bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. And I watched her grow up. Growing up, I watched her, and it was just such a terrible thing that I had to dealing with somebody like her. And I am really the one who got more of the short end of the stick, other than my brother, because she was more nicer to my brother and connected with him, and she never connected with me. So dealing with that, I just remember telling myself, I hope I'm never like her. Like, I never want to be like her. And when you hear something like that, that is kind of near what she has, it kind of hurts because all these things that I am, I never asked for these things. Like, I didn't even ask to be born into this world. I didn't ask to go through the things that I had to go through as a child, that I will definitely get into, just being molested, or not having no one to run to, just acting out, trying to find somebody to love me, just wanting to be loved, always feeling like somebody's coming after me, not being able to trust anyone, not even my own parents. Like, I didn't ask for any of that stuff. So for me to have what I have, at that moment, I was kind of not disappointed, but I was just like, damn. And I did make this statement to the psychologist. I said, I guess I'll never be normal. I guess I'll never know what it feels like to be normal. And when I said that, I didn't mean to make it seem like normal is better, whatever that is. What I'm saying is, I just want to know what it feels like to not feel the way that I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, being able to let your children go to their grandparents' house, and you not worry that not worry that they're going to go through the things that you went through as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, or something happened to them because the person's not watching them how you watched them, because you have what you have, so you watch them differently, you do things differently. And that was a really big issue for me. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, making these videos and what I'm trying to get out is that I am on this journey accepting who I am, because I now know who I am. And instead of me being so afraid, and instead of me bottling up everything, I am now accepting it, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. And instead of me always saying, you got this, you can do it on your own, it's okay, just, shake your shoulders off, dust your shoulders off, it's not that easy. And that's okay. It's okay. There's a lot of things that we go through in life we didn't ask for. We don't ask for the parents that we have. You know what I'm saying? We don't ask for the situations that we get put in as a child. And we all know, and I would like to say, like, in the Black community, I like to say that when you're going through mental issues or emotional issues, in a Black household, they do not like to deal with that. They want to act like it doesn't exist, and all they say is that you're crazy, and that so-and-so, you're just like your mother, blah, blah, blah. No one ever says, you know what? My child is really feeling this way right now. And what I need to do is get to the bottom of it. I need to figure out, what did I do, if I did anything? And what can I do to help her? Not beat her up and just ready to get rid of her, let her go because you just can't deal with it. Like, that's not what you do to your children. And that is what happens a lot in the Black community. But that is for another video. I just wanted to just introduce myself and let you guys know what my diagnosis were, and that this is I'm definitely just happy to make these videos finally, and hopefully in time I could reach to a lot of people, and you know, we can all be there for each other. I just want to be there for as many people as I can be there for in the world, because I know how it feels to be at your deepest, darkest moments, because trust me, I'm going to definitely tell you guys a lot of things. And I just want you to know that you're not alone and you're going to be all right. It's not easy to go through the things that we go through, even if you're diagnosed with other things, or even if you feel like you might have something, or even if you're just going through a bad situation. It's not easy. Nothing is easy when you're dealing with things emotionally and mentally. It's not easy because people think you're okay because you're looking nice, you got yourself together, but they don't know what's going on with you inside. And it's awesome to have somebody who understands, who won't judge you, who won't laugh at you. Someone who is open enough to let you know what's going on with them. And hopefully you can do the same. Because I'm telling you, if you don't deal with your mental and emotional issues and you just bottle it all up, eventually everything is going to come out. And when it comes out, it comes out. There's not enough cups in the world that will be able to, you know, fall into... There's not enough cups in this world that will be able to catch everything that's coming out. Like, it's just going to spill and it's going to overflow. And I'm telling you, when that happens, it's a problem, because you're going to do things you never do. You're going to start going crazy, basically. So for anybody out there who is going through anything emotionally and mentally, please reach out to me. Please reach out to someone. Don't feel like you're alone, and don't be afraid to talk about it. Even if you have to make a video like this and you don't even have to post it, just to get it out, because we have to get these things out. There's no way we can keep all these emotions that we feel inside of us. We have to get them out, because like I said, there's just not enough room for all of that stuff that we feel. So we have to get it out. So please message me, write me, talk to someone, seek therapy, do anything, you know, that makes you feel better. That does not involve drug usage or alcohol. And I'll get to that in a minute later on in another video. But I just want you guys to be healthy while you're trying to cope with the things that you're going through, because those things are not the answer. But I just want to say thanks for looking at this video. Again, I'm Cyclo Girl, and I do have powers, and I do love myself, and you know, we're going to get through this. We're going to go through this journey together. So yeah, so I just hope you guys have a wonderful night and a wonderful day. And yes, I keep doing this because I don't know, you know, my hair is shorter right here in the back from pinning it up so much, and I gotta just, you know what I'm saying, and I don't have my gel or nothing, but it's like, nah, but yeah. See you later.